Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm here to talk about Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era, and also my trip to Chip Theory Games in general. So last month, I was flown out to Chip Theory headquarters to try out the Elder Scrolls game, the prototype, and we also had a really nice weekend. So I was going to talk about a little bit of that, and then we'll talk about the Elder Scrolls. So as you know, I think transparency is important, so I actually marked this as a paid preview, even though it's like nobody paid me to make this video. Chip Theory absolutely did pay for my plane ticket and my hotel room to go out to Minneapolis and play this game. And so I feel like that is a sufficient amount of compensation that I kind of need to report that. So, you should also know I have a previous financial relationship with Chip Theory Games. They pay me to make their Gearlock Guide videos. So I have a long-standing relationship with Chip Theory. I'm a huge fan of their games, and you should absolutely take all of that into account when I talk about my experience at Chip Theory headquarters, because I like their stuff. So after a canceled flight and some drama, because there was a huge snowstorm that week, I did make it out to Chip Theory headquarters. We had a really, really good time. There were several other people there, including Casey from Brain in a Jar, Professor Meg, Alex from Board Game Co., Easy Cat, who I actually know for his book talk stuff more than his game stuff. It was great to see him. And Jeremy Howard, who goes way back with me and is now with Man vs. Meeple. It was so good to see everybody and to meet all the Chip Theory staff and see their headquarters, which was very cool. There were snacks everywhere, which is really all I need to be happy. But basically, we spent a bunch of time playing games into the night and trying out some Chip Theory stuff. So before we talk about Elder Scrolls, what I really want to talk about is that I totally slept on 20 Strong, and I really shouldn't have, because Shannon demoed it for us while we were there, and man, it was really good. I had kind of like seen the campaign go by and ignored it and thought like, whatever, I guess I'll get to it when I get to it, but now that I've played it, I'm really impressed with what they're doing with a small little card game that only has one chip in it and some dice. It's a big departure for Chip Theory because we're so used to them doing these huge games with a ton of neoprene and a ton of just everything, big budget, big box. But 20 Strong is not that. But it might end up being the Chip Theory series I play the most because it was quick, it was easy setup, it was small and portable. And I was really, really, really impressed with the creativity between the decks. So we got to look at 3 decks. There was one that just kind of had these generic aliens, and they had really funny names because they don't have real names yet. So I'm just be like, basic alien killer. And I actually kind of think they should have kept them. I think they're going to change to something more fancy, but I was very tickled by the names. But I thought it was a really, really good game. I had an amazing time playing it. And then they let us get a look at the Too Many Bones and Hoplomachus Victorum decks that were also very good and played very differently from the basic alien scenario. So a lot is being done with those games. I actually cannot wait for those. Those went way up my I'm excited to see this list. And I really wasn't expecting it. I was like, yeah, I'll play 20 Strong to pass the time until I can get to Elder Scrolls. But I love 20 Strong. I was surprised by how much I liked that. But then we got down to business. We played Elder Scrolls. I'm about to show you some of the footage with my voice over it. But basically, with Elder Scrolls, you are going on these different quests. You can chain them together in some way that is still being developed. But you play as one of the guilds from the game. And then you go to different places and experience different adventures. And then eventually these things all kind of tie together. There's like an overarching storyline that you will slowly uncover with experience of the game. So with that said, let's have a look at the footage that I pulled out of the giant amount of footage that Andrew sent me. Most importantly for this visit, however, we preview the Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era. Jeremy Howard from Man vs. Meeple and I did our demo together, and we decided to play as a pair of Argonian thieves who were ready to go off and find riches throughout Tamriel. One thing that made this game interesting is that it does have strong hints of Too Many Bones in it, but the way that familiar mechanisms were deployed in new ways was fascinating to me. As in Too Many Bones, you do acquire and roll skill dice to get things done during battle. But instead of choosing a Gearlock that, has its own playstyle, plays a really specific way, you're building your character from scratch. And that character's base stats are essentially up to you. Like, you get some starting allotments, but you are prioritizing what you want from the very beginning. So as you can see on the player mats, you build out skills starting from both the right and left sides of the mat. And that means that for one skill to reach massive potential, then you have to neglect another one. And so you can't have it all and you have to balance it out. So I can't wait to find out how that tension plays out across multiple quests with high-powered characters, because I was really enticed and also frustrated by that, like, but in a good way. As with Too Many Bones, you're also on a bit of a timer to complete your overall quest goal, but you're also actually moving to different locations on a map. So different things happen when you visit various towns, various ruins, various other locations, and there were also enemies who move across the map and can force an encounter with you. Battles in this game were really tough. That's partially my own fault for not focusing on my attack specs. I wanted to be a thief, man. And partially due to the fact this game is very, very hard right now. It's hard. That's somewhat subject to change. The game's still in development, and the Chip Theory team is clearly having really good conversations right now about balancing and difficulty scaling. But, I mean, also maybe they like it this way. You could tell that Salem, who led us through the demo, absolutely enjoyed our pain. What a monster.
How far can they move? Oh, wow, I'm blocked in.
Shoot. It did say surrounded on the card. Sorry.
This seems like a good time to say that the version of Elder Scrolls that I played is in development right now. And frankly, it's no doubt evolved even since I saw it about a month ago. Other than the current difficulty level, I really, really enjoyed everything, including the fighting. These skills made a lot of sense based on my experiences of Skyrim, Oblivion, and Elder Scrolls Online, and they were fun to use. Trying to become hidden as a thief was great, especially when the enemies couldn't find you for a turn, although I also totally screwed Jeremy over that way a couple of times. Sorry. I also really enjoyed the fatigue system, where you can tire yourself out to push yourself a bit, but it increases the amount of time it takes for your best dice to refresh and become available again. So, as I mentioned, The Elder Scrolls isn't done yet, and what I saw was just a taste of what's to come. But it was enough to make me really, really excited. Overall, The Elder Scrolls has fantastic bones. I think it's going to be another Chip Theory success. I'm very optimistic about what its final incarnation will look like. In fact, I actually think it's going to fare better with your average gamer because it's more accessible. So because you're building your own character from the ground up, you have a much better understanding of their capabilities, what they might be able to do next, what to work towards, and that makes the learning curve a little bit less painful. And I think that the dice skills were cool, but they're also nothing like what I've had to figure out this year while filming teaching videos for Tink and Stanza for those Too Many Bones Gearlock guides. This was much more intuitive and a lot less stressful. So Elder Scrolls is very much its own thing. And it's actually a thing I think I'd be willing to attempt with your average hobby gamer on an average game night, which I'm really excited about. All right, so now that you've had a look at some Elder Scrolls, I want to do just kind of like a final thoughts-ish thing and wrap up this video. So, the Elder Scrolls that I saw is not the final version. I expect there to be a lot of change, and there's clearly a lot more material that was being made for this. However, the core of the game is there, and it looks really, really good. I'm honestly excited about it. Of course, it's up my alley. You know, Too Many Bones is one of my favorite games ever. Hoplomachus Victorum, I've been playing the crap out of it since it got here late last year. And so Elder Scrolls, I think, is going to fit right in. And, you know, I love Elder Scrolls games, so it was really fun to play an Elder Scrolls game that was also a Chip Theory game. That said, I do think Elder Scrolls might be nice in the sense that it seemed like it had some of the good aspects of Too Many Bones I thought were really clever, but in a less exhausting package. I mean, I'm willing to pay the price to learn things for Too Many Bones because I think the game is brilliant. It's genius, in my opinion. But Elder Scrolls is maybe not going to be a game I end up loving more than Too Many Bones, but it's going to be a game that I can get other people to play with me a lot more than Too Many Bones. It's fun. It takes you from step one in a more natural way. The dice and the character skills are still exciting, although they're not quite as varied and wild as, something like going from Patches to Tink. Although, I mean, of course, that may also change. I only saw a few of the professions and skills that could be options in this game because it's based on Elder Scrolls. There's tons of variability in that system as well. But basically, to sum up, what I saw so far is very, very good. I personally intend to go absolutely wild on this game when it's out in the world. I have complete faith in the Chip Theory team to get this right, based on both what I saw and played, and based on conversations that I had after the fact. And it just seems to me this game is already very far along and going in the right direction. So that's what I have to say about my visit to Minneapolis. Other than on the last night we were all together, Cole Worley came over from Leader Games and taught us all how to play Blood on the Clock Tower, and it was awesome. So basically that weekend in Minneapolis will go down in my memory as just a really fantastic weekend that I will treasure in my heart. And that's just going to have to tide me over until I get to play Elder Scrolls for real, which I am quite excited about. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, ask questions, and most of all, happy gaming.